All right, we're back with another episode of Sales Development Secrets. We have with us Doug Hopeman, and we're excited for this one. We always like to find folks who have interesting points of view, not only interesting points of view, but well earned points of view. And I think Doug is one of those.
Hey, everybody. My name's Doug Hopeman, and I currently work for a company named Turnitin in the educational technology space. And I'll frame it like, I've got 25 plus years of sales experience, inbound, outbound, enterprise, everything from, sales development all the way through renewals and customer success, leading teams. And my current project is helping Turnitin, which is a 25-year-old company that essentially was born out of the start of the internet, out of concern for folks will basically copy and paste from the internet without citing properly, or like borrowing the roommate's paper, or somebody else writing your paper for you. And they built a company around that, right? And over the years the company evolved and helped institutions for things like essay mills and AI writing, which is new and exciting in our space.
Yeah.
And most recently we've moved into the classroom to secure and help like secure testing and AI assisted learning, but it's actually purpose built for education with guardrails to stop short of actually doing students' work. And I came on board 2 years ago because we're a market leader. We're 25 years old. We've been an inbound machine, right? Based on name recognition. But as we move into the classroom and as we move from what it was a point solution to help solve a very specific problem into a multi-solution company with more of an enterprise positioning, how do we start prospecting for that? How do we go build buying committees? How do we actually create prospecting at scale, right? And help the field sales team bring in new pipelines so that they can do their job, which is get in front of customers and close business. And so we've been on a transformation journey for the last 2 years, and I think that's what we're excited to talk about today.
I was gonna say you led right into what I was gonna use as our kind of first question to kick things off. So Doug, you were hired in to transform this regional inbound SDR program into a global SDR outbound prospecting machine. Um, Kind of walk us through it. Where did you start? What was the first thing you focused on?
Yeah, good question. I would say coming into a 25-year-old company, um, lots of B2B experience, not a lot of educational experience. I really had to stop and just do what you normally do when you start in a new company, right? I met with all the regional VPs. I met with all the marketing ops folks. I met with marketing. I met with product marketing. And I tried to get a lay of the land of what's working for them now and what are the gaps in those processes. And then at the same time, I inherited about 21 SDRs that were regionally managed, and I had to figure out how do we bring them into a global structure, out from underneath their regional management, and then understand, measure, like, what are we measuring today, right? How do we assess the team and the underlying technology and set baselines to understand where to focus our attention first, right? And so it's not like a startup where everything is brand new. You're walking in with a legacy technology stack. You're walking in with legacy processes, and you've got a company that knows how to do things, and you're not going to rewrite the thing from the bottom up in day one. So how do you take what you have and build into that process as opposed to just rip and replace, right? And so we focused on three themes in that first year, right? Velocity of engagement, streamlining and architecting processes at the macro level and at the rep level. We looked at I guess you could say accountability to outcomes, which is what are we measuring and what are we holding ourselves accountable to? And then how do we elevate our impact? We were essentially an inbound motion. how do we transform an inbound SDR team into an outbound SDR team? And what training and onboarding and assistance did they need to make that shift?
Awesome, awesome. Um,
Yeah,
so I was thinking too along the lines of, outbound. So you had this strong inbound program. What have you found, has the is the reception when you've got a group that's really done well with the inbound process and you wanna go in and introduce an outbound motion,
yeah.
how is that received at first? Did you get any kind of pushback on that, or how did that work?
Yeah, sure. I mean, in pockets, you always get some resistance, right? It's never like, "Yay, let's try something new." Um, that's not reality on the ground. Um, but I will say, as an organization, the the team was excited, one, to have structure,
Mm, mhm,
and two, to up level their value to the to Turnitin, right? Because everybody understands, I think, at our level, that SDR is a gateway to becoming a sales rep or becoming a customer success manager, right? And the more you know and the more value you can add in your current role, that adds value to the organization and creates career paths. And so I think everyone's really excited about it, and got behind it, and that helped the engine take off, I would say.
I used to say, that no one ever, like, laid in their backyard as a kid in the grass, stared up at the clouds, and dreamt about being an SDR, right?
right.
Right.
And
Not
your
at
point
all.
your point of, like, people take the SDR role, I mean, when I took it, I had been in financial services for years. I knew that language, I knew that flow, but I didn't know tech, and so I
Yeah.
used it as a stepping stone to get further into it,
Right.
into, tech as a whole and learn. I think that's why most people do that. So recognizing that and
Totally agree.
providing an opportunity, that's great. That's a great way to do it. And is the rest of the company are they recognizing that from those reps? Like, hey, the ones that are successful here, these guys actually they're good. Like there's something special.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We've already promoted some of our top reps into subsequent roles, and I always you always hate to see your best people go, but when it's internally, it's kind of special, right? And it actually creates momentum.
Mhm,
I try to teach it. Don't hoard your resources, right? Let them
yeah,
go, because the rest of the team sees that and they get super like, "Oh, what about me?" Right? Like, the amount of
mhm, mhm,
conversations that happen after somebody gets promoted about, "Hey, what do I need to do?"
mhm.
I bet you it goes up 50%, right? I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know the exact statistic, but everyone says, "Well, what about me? What about me?" Right? We now have a senior SDR role open. How do I get into that role? What do I need to do differently, right? And so momentum,
And what
right? Like, it just builds momentum.
and what a great opportunity to be able to sit and coach. Like, "Hey, that's a great
Yeah.
question. So glad let me tell you where the gap is," and
Yeah.
unlike the week before where they didn't wanna hear about it,
Yeah,
they're open
exactly.
to it.
And what's exciting, I think, jumping right into sort of some of the technology stuff, what's exciting about being able to identify the gap, and for your SDRs and even your managers to understand where their gaps are, it's like nothing before, right? The technology literally helps us understand gaps in real time, which, you know, before required manual scoring and having a rubric and literally going into a
Mhm,
spreadsheet and ticking off a 3 and a 2 and a 1 and a work, right. And so as technology has evolved and as solutions like Gong and Nooks and these other solutions, Highspot, have evolved into that coaching framework, that's for me been a game changer and I think it's been a game changer for Turnitin in general, is that we really embraced how to coach our reps, like how to provide AI assisted coaching for our sales force, which is gangbusters, right?
I mean, you guys are at
100%.
an educational technology company, so
Yeah.
makes sense. But then also
You
you
should
look at
hope coaching's on the forefront.
but also you look at how you guys are using AI both as, guardrails, but then also enabling in your technology as you described with students.
Yeah.
Um, talk a little bit about that, but then also, how that informs how you work with the prospecting teams.
Sure. So I'll actually connect the dots,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So Turnitin's newest solution called Turnitin Clarity has an AI assistant where the teacher can load up a rubric. It can literally guide the rubric can help guide the student through a paper, right? Through a ideation and drafting and final submission. But it won't ever do the work for them. And so imagine a student in today's world that's stuck at 2 a.m., not sure what to do. If they've got our solution, they can ideate and understand things, but actually do the work. Without any solution, what do? I call it they hit the panic bot, right? They go out to a public LLM, they throw the assignment in, they say, what do I do? It writes the paper for them. They're
Mhm.
none the wiser, right? Same sort of concept when you think about what we're doing with our sales force, which is we're helping them learn in the moment, right? Like as soon as an initial discovery call is over, as soon as a mutual discovery call is over, they can log into HighSpot, and we have a new coaching platform that was developed in house, an AI coaching platform that was developed in house, codenamed Athena. And Athena will literally, based on our competency rubrics, let them know how they did in the call and
Right?
start to coach them. Hey, like have a conversation. Hey, guess what? You missed this one question. Here's a better way to frame that question. Would you like to practice with me real quick so that on the next call you get it right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, you were proficient here, 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 and here, but we really need to work on this piece together. And it's learning from the past calls so it can say, hey, you've had 2, 3, 4 calls in a row where you keep missing this. Let's really lean into this. Or, you know, ping the manager and notify the manager that, hey, you've got a problem spot, right? And so it
Love that.
encourages our sales force to do the work in the moment and get the feedback in the moment, and not, most importantly, not look at it as a negative, but a positive,
You know, I
right?
I love
Which is
the
huge.
yeah, 100%. I love the in the moment, um, coaching thought of it because I literally had this happen the other day. I wa I was correcting one of my children on something that had happened way before, right? And my wife goes, That's not gonna land." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" She goes, "That's Brian, it's not gonna land because they don't know what you're talking about."
Right.
And then she took it further. She's like, "Our dog Nala," she goes, "It's like yelling at Nala for barking when she barked an hour ago." I'm like,
Yep.
"Yeah, good point."
It's exactly that, right? And think about getting the feedback 2 days later, right?
Mhm,
You can't
mhm.
remember the conversation. You don't remember what you really talked about 2 days ago. You can go back and read the notes and go, "Oh, yeah, right, of course, that's what I was talking about."
Right.
But that in the moment, like, tacit check and balance to go, "What can I do differently before I get on my next call," which starts in, 30 minutes? Like, that's
Mhm,
such a
mhm.
game changer in the way that you run a go-to-market team and how you coach a go-to-market team, because I don't care how good your managers are, they can coach to 1 call, 2 calls, 3 calls a week, maybe if they're really proficient, right? And give feedback about a point in time. This allows that rep to just get that continual feedback, but then do check-ins with their coach, right? Hey,
Right.
I've been working on this. Will you listen to this call? let me know what you think and let me know what else I could do better, right? Like that's such a powerful, like, think about how empowering that is to the rep,
Well,
right?
you couple that with what we talked about earlier, which is, you when you've got people that are getting promoted onto the team,
Yeah.
and then you give them a way uh, to learn in real time and
Yep.
improve real time. And I mean, theoretically, you've got multiple calls in a day. If there's something they need to work
Yeah.
on for call 1 and 2, they've got call 3 and 4 that they can they should see that uptick, that instant
Yep.
response. It's
That's
just
exactly right.
it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I love
Yeah.
that. I
We
love
love
that.
it. So we're excited about it. And I mean, that's obviously not the only place we're looking at. How do we improve our processes and how do we integrate, not necessarily integrate AI specifically, but how do we how do we prospect with intent is probably a great way to say it, right? Which is kind of buzzy at the moment. Which is, how do you get away from trying to prospect to everybody and prospect to those people that are actually listening right now or interested right now, but also do that in a way that drives engagement, right? And
Mhm.
actually, helps that person come into your funnel, right? Brings that person downstream into your funnel from, say, website visits or whatever. So, yeah, we're really excited about the promise of all of the different ways AI can help us solve that problem, right? Um,
People buy from people buy from people. People buy from people
People
they
still
like.
buy from people. Yep.
Exactly, people they trust. And sometimes they'll buy from you because they trust you, and the organization may not have that
Yep.
same trust level yet, but because you're there and they trust you, they'll buy. Um, and I was thinking about this. I almost feel like because I have a background in education sales,
Yeah.
and I almost feel like that distinction is sharper in academics, and in education. Um, Teachers like to what's the best way to put this? I feel like educators and your class all the way from your classroom teachers to your district leaders to even your state level, um, educational
Yeah.
folks. I feel like there's a greater level of skepticism, in just diving in and
Right.
following everything digitally, even among the tech ed teachers
Yep.
and folks. I don't know, you're still in it. It's been a while since I've been in the
Yep.
academic, but would you say that's kind of a fair assessment?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say they're playing. They're at a huge disadvantage right now, right? Because when you think about largely government institutions, right? Like,
Mhm.
y- the pace at which some of this technology evolution is taking place is really hard to catch up when you've got so many layers of bureaucracy and, like,
Mhm.
Mhm.
what who owns the rules, right? Like, who
Right.
owns the policy? Who owns the strategy, right? Is it federal? Is it state? Is it local? Is it the teacher in the classroom? Where's all that? How do you deal with that ownership? So, there's a huge place for policy and having really solid, responsible AI use policy. And understanding what that looks like and how you can have multi-lane approach, right? It doesn't have to be black and white, no AI, AI. It can be some AI, no AI, some AI, you know, uh, all AI, right? Like, hey, I'm in a STEM class and I want to teach my kids how to vibe code. Great,
Mhm. Mhm.
perfect, fantastic. I'm, running a high stakes exam for the bar. You can't have AI, right? Like, if
No.
AI if
I
it seeps into that, or think about medical, right? Like, you don't want nurses taking a test where they can, literally have an agentic AI partner sitting there taking the test for them, right? You just don't want that, right? So,
Mhm.
how do you find the balance between all of this, and what does that look like? Is where the the conversation is right now, and how to solve for that. And what I hope and what I, like, inertly feel is Turnitin wants to be on the right side of that
Mhm.
playing field where we're actually helping these institutions solve those problems with through technology and process, right? As long, and helping to fit into those different lanes, right? Those different swim lanes.
Yeah, you
So
know,
it's
you
a
guys
big conversation, right?
it
And I
is.
think it's smart that you're playing this is gonna sound
Not
awful,
playing
but
both sides, but
you're
playing
playing
both
both
sides.
you've got both sides of
Yeah,
it that you're looking at, and 'cause it is a two-sided
yeah,
thing. It's both enabling and guardrails, right?
yeah. And it kind of has to be, right? Like
Mhm,
I mean, you mentioned your children, right?
Mhm.
Like kids love guardrails.
mhm.
They don't want to be out in the wild. They want to be told like this is what you need to go do. Now let me figure out how to go do it, right? That's part of learning.
Love
Right,
it.
And so it's just an important piece of like protecting that cognitive piece of learning, right? And truly making sure that if you're vibe coding, you know what questions to ask
Mhm.
because you've learned how to ask them,
mhm.
right? And same sort of concept for writing papers or essays or whatever, right? We still need to teach our kids how to read. They need to be able to read and they need to be able to form a thought about what they've read
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think
in an opinion, right? And so I think it's I don't know. I think it's a super cool time to be in education as they go through this transformation and
Mhm.
watch how these different universities and K-12 institutions adapt, right?
Right,
And learn from them because we certainly don't have all the answers. We're learning from them. Like most of our product is actually developed with teachers, right? Like
love it.
in helping helping us form what we do next.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if anybody's on the front lines of watching, how education has sort of moved over the years from teaching teaching kids and young people how to think as opposed to what to think.
Yeah,
I mean that transition has gone from we're teaching you how to think to more of we're teaching you what to think, and we're I think we're in a spot where we're trying to kind of swing the pendulum back the other way. We've got to
yeah,
teach them how to think, or we're putting them at a disadvantage,
yeah,
and I think you know Turnitin is kind of sitting on the precipice of saying, well, yeah, we're gonna teach you how to think, but we're also gonna teach you how to use these tools that can do the thinking by using this knowledge of how to think and how you marry those to go forward. Because I mean, AI is not going anywhere.
yeah,
It's not going to disappear. It's going to continue to be used, but we've got to continue to have that. Um, we've got to continue to have these our youth
yeah,
understand how to think so that they know when what they're seeing and what they're seeing in front of them, what AI is producing, and they can go, okay, I get what it's saying, but why did it reach that conclusion?
right,
Um, I mean,
exactly.
and so much more to it. But I love that. I love where Turnitin is sitting in this. You had before we begin the wrap up, you had a
Yeah,
great story as to why Turnitin is so uh, important in what you guys are doing. I think you shared a question about it, or you shared a story about a 22-year-old who had kind of trained an open source LLM to log in and
yeah,
do some stuff. Walk us through that story. That was a
yeah,
really
yeah,
cool story.
yeah. So I mean, it happened recently, right? A recent college grad basically vibe coded and an app that could log into their LLM or excuse me, their LMS, um,
mhm,
and do their homework for them and take their test for them, right? And basically sit inside of their OS and do their work. And then they tried to turn it into a company, right? Turn it into a company to let other people cheat, right? And it was pulled down very quickly. But that's the threat, the disruption that agentic AI poses to learning, right?
mhm, mhm.
Is that you could potentially have a degree without ever learning a thing because you've got this copilot sitting there doing all of the work for you, right? And so how do you create proof of process? How do you understand that somebody is doing the work versus not doing the work? And those are the questions that a lot of educators are asking themselves right now. It's not enough to just get a final product anymore. We need to know how you came at that conclusion, right? And so that's when we think about what we've been developing for the last couple of years, and even how we're looking at AI internally, is how do we do this in a way that supports without breaking all of these sales processes that we have under the covers and threatens our reputation as a company because we just tried to throw something out there that was,
Mhm.
hey, we save on cost because now we're doing all of our email with an agentic AI agent, but we missed something in the data, and now we've lost trust in the community, right? And
Right.
so we're being very careful about how we roll this stuff out to make sure that as we do it, and where we adopt AI to help us get faster, better, get more efficient. um, and so that's the sort of things that we're thinking about, is how do we drive efficiency with what we have, without breaking what works.
Love it.
That's how I would put it.
Love it.
Right.
And you apply AI to good process and you get good results. You apply AI
Yes,
to
sir.
bad process and it shows you why you're not getting the results. Um, right? And
That's a great way to say it.
that's really where it leads. We're coming up on time here, Doug. So,
Sure.
if people are interested in kind of learning more, either about kind of you specifically and how you're applying these things, the coaching process and everything, there at Turnitin, what's the best way for people to reach out and connect with you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, best way is through LinkedIn. I'm Doug-Hopeman at LinkedIn. Is my handle at LinkedIn. Just DM me, say you heard the podcast. Let me know you'd like to grab a conversation. I love to geek out on go to market. Feel like it's fun and passionate for me. Been doing it my whole career, and you know, how to set. I've be, I, I guess you could say at this point I don't know everything, but I can look at process technology and figure out how to marry it together. Process, data, technology, and people, and how to marry it together to get the most out of it. What you have in the moment,
All right.
and
Love it.
um, I,
Love it.
I, and that's my advice, right, to people is like, first figure out what you got,
Yes.
right,
Yes.
and work within what you've got and optimize that and nail it, and then continue to add and piece it together
Iterate from
as you
there.
go and iterate from there, right? I can't stress that enough as somebody who's done this, over, I don't know, a dozen times in my life, building teams out with technology and process. So,
Right. Don't boil the ocean all at once.
right.
You'll fail, but little by little you'll get there.
Yep,
Well,
exactly.
thanks, Doug. I appreciate it.
Yep.
I love to check in again at some point and kind of see. I think this is all evolving so fast. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
it's this is fun, especially a year ago in the educational space. They're like, no AI, it can't, not at all, no,
Right.
Yep.
right?
Right.
So
The conversation has shifted drastically in the
yep,
last 12 months. And
yep,
and I love what you guys are doing as well. And I think, when I look at how you all are building out your solutions, you're thinking about those problems in the right way as well, and excited to see what you all do as well.
Love
So,
it.
thanks, Doug. Appreciate it, and
yeah.
we'll catch everybody soon. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.